Embracing your inner queen, the radical path to true empowerment. Welcome to the Black CEO Podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that's not just thought provoking, but potentially life changing. We're going to challenge everything you thought you knew about women's empowerment, self care, and personal growth. I'm thrilled to share with you the transformative insights I gained from an extraordinary interview with Shantel Siherta Shekhem Dennis. Shantel is more than just a beacon of wisdom in the realm of holistic self care and women's empowerment. She's a revolutionary thinker, a catalyst for change, and a true visionary who's reshaping the landscape of personal development and spiritual growth. Chantel's journey is nothing short of inspiring. She transitioned from a 25-year career as a professional master's level registered nurse to becoming a published author and holistic self-care practitioner. As the owner of Good Vibes Lounge, LLC, a holistic health center in the making, and a lead mentor for Queen Afua's Sacred Woman Rites of Passage program, Chantel is at the forefront of a movement that's not just empowering women, but fundamentally changing how we think about empowerment itself. Now, I want you to brace yourselves because what I'm about to share might shake the very foundations of what you believe about personal growth and self care. We're about to embark on a journey that challenges our conventional thinking and pushes us to the edge of our comfort zones. Are you ready? Imagine for a moment that everything you've been told about overcoming your past, about healing from trauma, about becoming your best self, imagine that it's all been missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. What if I told you that the key to unlocking your true power doesn't lie in escaping your traumas, but in embracing them? What if the very experiences that have caused you the most pain are actually the stepping stones to your greatness? This is the revolutionary idea at the heart of Chantel's philosophy, and it has the power to transform not just individual lives, but entire communities. It's a concept so counterintuitive, so radical, that it might make you uncomfortable at first. But I urge you to stay with me because this discomfort is where true growth begins. We live in a world that often tells women to shrink, to fit in, to tone down their power. Society whispers and sometimes shouts that we should be smaller, quieter, less demanding. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if the path to true fulfillment and societal change lies in women embracing their full, radiant royal selves? This is the paradigm shifting truth that Shantel Siherta Shekhem Dennis is bringing to light through her work. It's a message that resonates deeply in our current cultural moment, challenging us to rethink everything we thought we knew about personal empowerment and societal change. The central paradox we're exploring today is this: how can embracing our traumas and taking full responsibility for our lives lead not to victimhood, but to empowerment and purpose? It's a question that challenges our assumptions about healing, growth, and the very nature of personal power. Chantel's approach, rooted in what she calls practical spirituality, offers a roadmap for this transformation. But let me be clear, this isn't about ignoring our past or pretending our struggles don't exist. It's about reframing these experiences as the very tools we need to build our queendoms. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Queendoms, really? Isn't that a bit much? Well, I get it. In a world that often values hard data and tangible results, talk of inner queens and spiritual transformations can sound a bit out there. But I challenge you to set aside your skepticism for the next few minutes. Because what if this woo woo stuff is actually the most practical, the most powerful approach to creating real, lasting change in our lives and in the world? Let's dive deeper into this concept. When we think about trauma, our instinct is often to run from it, to bury it, to try and forget. But what if those very experiences are the key to unlocking our greatest potential? It's like trying to build a castle without a foundation, impossible and unstable. Our traumas, as painful as they may be, can serve as the bedrock upon which we build our strength, our resilience, and ultimately our power. This idea flies in the face of much of what we've been taught about healing and personal growth. We're often told to let go of our past, to move on. But Chantel's approach suggests something radically different, that by fully embracing our stories, by owning every chapter of our lives, we can transmute pain into power. Think about it. Every queen in history has faced challenges, obstacles, and traumas. It's not the absence of these difficulties that defined their reign, but how they rose above them, how they used these experiences to fuel their leadership and inspire their people. In the same way, Shantel argues that each of us has the potential to rule our own queendom, not despite our struggles, but because of them. This brings us to the concept of fortifying queendoms. It's a powerful metaphor that reframes how we think about personal development and self-care. Instead of seeing ourselves as broken individuals in need of fixing, we're invited to see ourselves as sovereigns, responsible for the care and cultivation of our own inner kingdoms. But here's where it gets really interesting and perhaps a bit uncomfortable. Shantel's philosophy calls for us to take full responsibility for our lives. Now, this might sound like victim blaming at first glance. After all, aren't there circumstances beyond our control that shape our lives? Of course there are. But the radical idea here is that by claiming responsibility, even for the things that have happened to us, we reclaim our power to shape our future. It's a bit like being the author of your own story. Yes, there are plot twists that you didn't choose, characters that entered your narrative uninvited. But as the author, you have the power to decide how these elements shape the overall arc of your story. You have the power to write new chapters that align with the royalty in your DNA. This concept of royalty in our DNA is another paradigm shifting idea. It suggests that our potential for greatness, for leadership, for making a positive impact on the world isn't something we need to acquire or earn. It's already within us. It's encoded in our very being. Our job then is not to become something we're not, but to uncover and embrace who we truly are at our core. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how does it work in practice? This is where Shantel's concept of practical spirituality comes in. It's about bridging the gap between lofty spiritual ideals and the nitty-gritty of everyday life. Practical spirituality, as Shantel describes it, is about integrating spiritual principles into our daily routines and decisions. It's about making the sacred practical and the practical sacred. This approach demystifies spirituality, making it accessible and applicable to everyone, regardless of their background or beliefs. One of the cornerstones of this practical approach is Shantel's 12 principles to sacred living, which she outlines in her self-care book, Embracing the Queen Within. These principles, derived from her experiences with the sacred woman rites of passage and practitioner training taught by Queen Afua, offer a structured path to personal transformation. Let's look at some concrete examples of how this approach can play out in real life. Imagine a woman who has experienced domestic violence. The conventional approach might focus solely on helping her leave the abusive situation and heal from the trauma. And while these are crucial steps, Shantel's approach would go further. It would invite this woman to see how this experience, as painful as it was, has given her unique insights and strengths. Perhaps it's made her more empathetic to others in similar situations. Perhaps it's ignited a passion for advocacy. Perhaps it's taught her the importance of setting boundaries and valuing herself. By reframing this experience not just as something to overcome, but as a part of her journey to queendom, she can transmute her pain into purpose. She becomes not just a survivor, but a leader, a change maker, a queen in her own right. Or consider a woman struggling with body image issues. The standard approach might focus on diet and exercise, on changing her body to fit societal standards. But Shantel's philosophy would invite her to dig deeper, to examine where these beliefs about her body came from, to challenge the very notion that her worth is tied to her appearance. Through this process, she might discover that her body image issues stem from a deeper fear of taking up space in the world, of being seen and heard. And as she works through these deeper issues, as she embraces her right to be fully present in the world, her relationship with her body naturally begins to shift. This is the power of practical spirituality. It's not about ignoring real world problems or escaping into a fantasy of positivity. It's about diving deep into the root causes of our challenges and emerging with practical, powerful tools for transformation. Now, I want to address a potential criticism here. Some might argue that this focus on individual transformation ignores the very real systemic issues that women, particularly women of color, face in our society. But I would argue, and I believe Shantel would agree, that personal and societal transformation are inextricably linked. When women step into their power, when they embrace their inner queen, they become catalysts for change in their families, their communities, and the world at large. They lead by example, inspiring others to do the same. They challenge unjust systems, not from a place of victimhood, but from a place of sovereignty and strength. This is why Chantel's work as a lead mentor for Queen Afua's Sacred Woman Rites of Passage program is so crucial. By mentoring the mentors for the SWIM, Sacred Women in the Making program, she's creating a ripple effect of transformation. Each woman who embraces her inner queen becomes a beacon for others, creating a network of empowered women who support and uplift each other. Let me share with you a powerful example of this transformation in action. Chantel told me about a woman we'll call Sarah. Sarah came to the program feeling broken, her confidence shattered by years of emotional abuse and self doubt. She was skeptical at first, resistant to the idea that she had any power or value. But as Sarah began to engage with the principles of practical spirituality, something remarkable happened. She started to see her past not as a burden, but as a source of wisdom. She began to recognize the strength it took to survive her experiences, the resilience she had developed. Over time, Sarah's entire demeanor changed. She stood taller, spoke with more confidence. She started setting boundaries in her relationships and pursuing goals she had long abandoned. But the most profound change was in how she saw herself. Sarah no longer viewed herself as a victim of her circumstances, but as the queen of her own life. The ripple effects of Sarah's transformation were astounding. Her children noticed the change and began to treat her with more respect. Her colleagues at work responded to her newfound confidence, and she soon received a promotion she had long deserved, but never felt worthy of pursuing. But it didn't stop there. Inspired by her own journey, Sarah started a support group for women in her community who had experienced similar challenges. She became a beacon of hope and empowerment for others, embodying the very principles she had learned. This is the power of embracing our inner queen. It's not just about personal transformation, it's about creating a ripple effect that can change families, communities, and ultimately society as a whole. Now, I want to challenge you to think about your own life. What experiences have you been trying to escape from? What parts of your story have you been ashamed of or tried to hide? What if instead of running from these aspects of your life, you embrace them as part of your journey to queendom? Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you fully stepped into your power, if you embraced every part of your story as a crucial element of your strength. How would you show up differently in your relationships, in your career, in your community? This is not an easy journey. It requires courage, commitment, and a willingness to challenge deeply ingrained beliefs about ourselves in the world. But the potential rewards are immeasurable. By embracing our inner queen, we not only transform our own lives, but become catalysts for change in the world around us. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. What if the key to changing the world lies not in fighting against what we don't want, but in fully embodying what we do want? What if the most revolutionary act is to embrace our own royalty and live from that place of power and purpose? Shantel Siherta Shekhem Dennis's work invites us to consider this possibility. It challenges us to see beyond the surface level of self-care and women's empowerment to the deeper, transformative potential that lies within each of us. So here's my challenge to you. For the next week, I want you to approach your life as if you were the queen of your own kingdom. How would you carry yourself? How would you make decisions? How would you treat yourself and others? Start each day by looking in the mirror and declaring, I am the queen of my life. Notice how this simple act begins to shift your perspective and your actions. When you encounter challenges, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how is this helping me build my queendom? Look for the lessons, the growth opportunities in every situation. And most importantly, pay attention to how this shifting in perspective affects not just you, but those around you. Notice how your newfound confidence and self-respect ripples out into your relationships and your community. Remember, this journey of embracing your inner queen is not a destination, but an ongoing process. It's about continually choosing to see yourself and your experiences through the lens of sovereignty and purpose. It's about writing and rewriting your story, always aligning more closely with the royalty in your DNA. As you go forth from this talk, I encourage you to carry this message with you. Look for opportunities to fortify your own queendom. Seek out ways to practice spirituality in your everyday life. And most importantly, remember that you are not just living your life, you are authoring it. You have the power to write new chapters that align with the royalty in your DNA. The world needs more queens, women who are fully embodied in their power, their wisdom, and their purpose. Women who are not afraid to take up space, to use their voice, to stand in their truth. Women who lift as they climb, creating a ripple effect of empowerment and positive change. You are that queen. Your experiences, your struggles, your triumphs, they are all part of your royal lineage. It's time to claim your crown, to step into your power, and to create the change you wish to see in the world. So I ask you, are you ready to embrace your inner queen? Are you ready to rewrite your story, to transmute your pain into power, to become the sovereign ruler of your own life? The choice is yours. The power is within you. The time is now. Thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. May you walk forward from this moment, fully embracing the queen within you, ready to create ripples of change that will transform not just your life, but the world around you. The queendom awaits. Will you answer the call?